What's going on, everyone? We got another little project to do today. It's a Ram 2500 16 model. It's got a turbo actuator fault in it, and heater's not blowing very warm on the driver's side. I've had it for a little bit, been a little under the weather, still am, but we need to get her going, get it back to the guy who owns it. Obviously he needs it, so let's get this sucker pulled in here. It is a mega cab, so it's gonna fill up every bit of this little shop here. So we're gonna have to move some things around, get readjusted to fit this sucker in. I did a timing cover on a 1-ton that was in here one time. I had to back it in, my legs were hanging out the front of the door while it was raining. So hopefully it's the same length, but we can squeeze it in. And we'll just make do with what we got. All right, let's go get this sucker and bring it in. All right, we got her in there. So it's a tight squeeze. Very tight squeeze, but it's doable. All right, we got to get the tire off. We're gonna get this fender liner out, the old mud flap off there, flare. Then we can get in there to that lovely turbo actuator. Yay. Let's continue on. Well, I know we just got started, but I'm already interrupting. So I just had to show you my luck. These nuts, lug nuts here, are different than the one. The only key I could find in the truck only fits those. So I look at the whole truck. This is the only one lug nut like that. And this is the only one wheel and tire I need to remove. So I tried a few other things, but ultimately went across the street to the other shop, got the one out of my mega cab, and man, lucky for me it fits. All right, let's keep rolling. All right, so we made our way to the actuator here for the turbo. This is a variable geometry turbo called VGT. They don't use wastegates to control boost. This is actually an actuator, and there's an arm in there that swings back and forth, which is the motor that controls it. I'll get this off, kind of show you that, and try to explain a little better how this particular VGT works. And this one has been replaced kind of recently, but this is some cheaper one. Don't know where it came from. We are replacing with at least a Cummins one. There is a billet bad boy one out there, but you can't hardly get a hold of it, and we don't have time to wait. So let's get to taking this off. These are not the bolts you remove on the sides. They are actually back here. You have two Allens here, and you have an Allen here and one over there. This one right here, that's the tricky one, because not a whole lot of space, but let's get it removed. Also, when you pull this off, a bunch of coolant is going to come out. If you do not drain the cooling system, I'm not going to lie to you, I did not drain it. It is a horrible pain in the butt to get to the drain on this particular truck. So we're going to do our best to catch it in the old catch pan. Try not to make a mess. All right, let's get some tools and go for it. Just want to make a note on when you're removing Allen headed bolts or Torx, whenever you insert the tool into the bolt, make sure it is straight and level, and throw it on the ground. The bolt's gone. It's alright, got new ones. So anyways, when you go to put it in, make sure it goes all the way in and bottoms out. If you got dirt or anything in there, be sure to blow clean, pick that out somehow, because you need all the surface you can get. You want to push in with your tool, and it's usually best if you can use two hands, because when you go to turn this, see how you naturally, the tool goes down? You're wanting to hold that straight as you can, keep that from pivoting, which I can't do with one hand, that's tight. But I think you catch the gist of what I'm trying to talk about here. Put a little pressure on it. Oh yeah, there she goes. That'll keep you from stripping it out, because those are bolts you don't want to strip out, especially any of the two down here at the bottom. So anyways, use that advice for Allen heads and torque bits. It really applies to everything though. I mean, these just tend to strip a lot easier. Okay, so we got the actuator off. So you can see these teeth here. That. Where's the old actuator? Yeah. Lines up with that. So obviously there's a motor in here. And when this gear moves, it moves this arm, which is attached to a what we call a nozzle in this side of the housing, on the heat side of it. So when the wind comes out, the exhaust comes blowing through here on the exit side and hits the twirler whirler in there, little fan shaped apparatus. It spins, which spins the compressor side, which is the inlet side. It's bringing the air in. Well, not here, obviously, on the front here. So that sucks the air in. This compresses it and sends it back out. That's why a lot of these have intercoolers. Obviously when you compress air it gets hot, so you run it through a heat exchanger, put it back in the engine, cooler temperatures. So what this does in the middle though, you can imagine a bunch of fins. That's how this one works. The fins don't move like some other VGT nozzles or turbos. This one is just a stationary collar and it slides back and forth. So the closer it gets to it, the faster it spins. When you want less boost, you move it away from it. And guess what? It slows down the speed of the turbo and creates less boost. This is also how we get our exhaust brake. It just goes full lock to one side and blocks the exhaust off coming in. When you remove this actuator, this arm should move pretty easily. It's got a good snap back and forth, so it's traveling its full distance. Sometimes you can move it and you'll feel it start getting stuck, and that's when you have an ash accumulation around it. It's not soot, it's ash. It's the leftover after soot burns. It's hard as a rock. It's really hard to get rid of that clean. I've actually had one of these that wouldn't move at all, and just for curiosity's sake, the guy didn't have the money to put a whole turbo on it, so I sat there and worked this back and forth with I hate to say it, with a little ball peen hammer until I got it moving, and it didn't sound as easy as clean as this one, but it would move with a little bit of extra force. Put it all together and it actually worked. Still on the road. So there's an alignment procedure before you put all this together. You can see this hole right here, and that hole needs to line up with that hole there. So I have, this fits perfectly in that hole. Some of these kits come with an alignment pin, or they used to. I hadn't seen one in a long time, but I always like to take it, stick it in the hole, and make sure this arm's exactly where it needs to be prior to installing the actuator. Also, some of these kits come, this is a Cummins actuator, so they'll send a little box. It plugs into the OBD2 port, and you're able to do your calibration on this before installing it, not having to have a scan tool or anything. I've got a scanner, so I'm gonna use my scanner. It is pretty simple. You have to plug it in prior to running the calibration, sorry. And then it'll tell you when to install it, and you install it. Put it all back together, put coolant in it, and go drive it and have fun. Oh, they made extra seals with this, that's weird. Oh well. Alright. So let's get this baby on there. Alright, so it's not installed. We'll plug it in. Should make noises. Let's go to our scanner. Which I've already fast forward through a bunch of this. Must be removed. It is. Let's hit continue. This function combined with the service literature available on site. Who cares? Let's go for it. Install actuator on turbo. So we'll do that. Do not turn off the ignition or disconnect the scan tool during actuator installation. Let's go put it back on. I'll do that while you sit and drink beer. I'll be back. Alright, so we got our actuator installed and calibrated. Essentially what the calibration does is when the actuator is off the turbo, it zeroes itself out. Think of it that way. You install the actuator, do the next step, and what it's going to do is go max travel, max travel. Now she knows where her happy place is. And yeah, that's about it. I do it twice. Didn't realize I didn't have that clipped in. So when I moved it to put it on, it slid back enough to where it didn't make contact. So I take it off, start the procedure over. Of course, past the second time, you can actually hear it. If you hear it moving, you know it's doing its deal. So, all right, that's the end of that. We're gonna put the rest of this back together. We got a heater cord to flush out. We're gonna do that. Try that on this one. See how long. See if it works. How long it lasts. But I'm gonna get the rest of this fender liner put together. That's back to the fender liner thing, man. I'd rather do a lot of other things than install fender liners. I don't know what it is about these damn things, but whew. Anyways, if Barney was here, I'd have him do it. Maybe I'll wait till tomorrow and have him do it. Anywho, let's wrap this part of it up. We'll get to the coolant flush, and we gotta check the trailer brakes, or not the trailer brakes, but the trailer lighting. Something's going on back there. But all right, moving on to the next. All right, down to torque. Torque like I always do. Nope. That's only because you're watching. That's not entirely true. I forgot I'm the one who edits it. And the reason why I edited out that, because if y'all watch me put this in and listen to me, you wouldn't think I'd be able to put a, well, I don't know. How about a Sensi on a review mirror? Because this will take any technician, mechanic, and turn him into a baby. Alright, cool, man. Alright, so we got the lines that run from the motor to the heater core undone. Because those are, if you go straight to the heater core, it is way back yonder. And that is super hard to get to. So we're going to take it loose here, from the head, here, from the EGR cooler system coming out of the engine down yonder. And we're going to blow it out first. Then we're going to pour some CLR in there. Let that sit for a while. And then we'll continue on with the, there we go, continue on with the trailer light issue. So let's get to filling her up, blowing her out. Okay, so this is obviously gonna make a mess. I'm gonna try to point this down. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's see if that holds it down. Alright, get ready for the spray. Blew my hose off. Let's try that again. Gotta taste sweet. Okay. Now we've done that. I'll blow it back the other way. And then fill it up with CLR and let it sit for a while. Let's prop this hose up where it's a little bit higher. That way we know we can get as much as we can in this core. And let's do it. We got it full of CLR and on top of the engine, so we'll wash that off and make it nice and pretty, I guess. Anywho, we're gonna let this soak for 30-45 minutes. Come back, we'll blast it with some water, and then we'll blast it with air, and we'll blast it with water, and we'll blast it with air, and let's see if it clears up. If it does, then we saved ourselves a heater core replacement. So we'll get back to you on that. So I kind of jumped ahead of you guys and already figured out why most of the trailer lights do not work on this old rig. And it's just simply fuses. They're very sensitive to fuses now. I get a lot of people that blame the truck for it, and I have yet to find the truck be the reason, unless they've got some type of aftermarket adapter that moves the 7-way up into the bed and it gets moisture in it. Then it's usually the truck's fault, but that's some aftermarket piece added to it. So always check your fuses first before going blaming anything. Fuse 28, that will be your trailer tow backup. So when you put it in reverse, it sends power. This is your trailer tow park. It's just F29. That's your parking lights. F30 is your trailer tow. It's gonna be your brakes. And for whatever reason, why Dodge Ram did this, you scroll on down to F30, F53. That is your trailer tow left turn and stop. And then all the way over here, where'd it go? F81 is your trailer tow right turn stop. So makes no sense. Neither do the way these numbers work, because you can go in numerical order and then it suddenly jumps to something else. It's all over the place. But so anyways, 3 of those fuses were blown, so we're gonna go ahead and replace these fuses and then light up our simulator and see if we fixed it. So let's do that real quick. Alright. What is this one? Man, is that one blown too? Only one way to find out. Let's check it on our meter. These new ones are hard to see and tell. Usually the little bulb there will be kind of gray. Dingy gray and not shiny, but the surefire way to tell is to foam it out. Yep, you can see it. Barely tell, but it is blown. Just barely. So, need another fuse. Okay, for test purposes only, I highly do not, I'm not even going to say highly, do not solder a fuse back together, but I just did. Just so I can make sure everything works. I don't have that fuse, so I'll have to get one. But if we look, headlights on, we can see it says tail light. Being left turned, lights up, we're good. Right turn, lights up, we're good. Hit the brakes. Both turns light up because that's our brakes. This is our gain meter showing that it is sending signal back for the trailer brakes. And then our reverse lights. Well, reverse lights on. So this is a great little tool to have, especially when you're trying to figure out trailer brake issues. It simulates the load of the electromagnetic hoodus that controls the brakes on a trailer. But yeah, anyways, got that all taken care of. I will go get a fuse tomorrow. That is not going to stay that way. All right, we're letting our stuff soak some more, and then we'll go to cleaning out the heater core, trying it out. And another issue we had was weak air volume coming out of the floor, the vents, and these Dodges have, like most now, cabin air filters. This one is pretty stopped up. Should look more like that. These are just like in your house. They are there to prevent buildup on the evaporator core, like dirt and such. And a good part of these work trucks we have, if they don't have these in there, these filters, they plug the evaporator up, and you can kind of clean them inside the box. It's a mess, but you can pull the fan motor out and the blower motor resistor and work your way up in there. You can't get all of it, but you can get a lot of it. And if not, you have to pull this box out, and at that point you might as well replace it. So that can get really expensive. So just remember, if you take care of your house filter, take care of your truck filter. To do this, there's little tabs on either side. You pull those tabs, alright, it comes off, and then you just take the filter, make sure you know the direction of the airflow. Which, if you're on top of the fan on this one, the airflow is obviously coming from the top down, and then that way. So we want our airflow to be down. So we just shove it in there. Put the cover back on. Put the cover back on the correct way. I put it in upside down. Oh my goodness. It's the little things. Watch this. Oh wow, so much easier. Okay. She's back in there now. That will have plenty of airflow. You just got to pull the glove box out to access that, and the glove box is really easy. It's got this little string return assist here. You just unclip it from, actually on the outside. Unclip that. You want to squeeze that in and this in. The box will then come down further to where you can unhook it, unhinge it from these points. So we'll just put it back in, kind of show you the reverse order. Alright, we're going to start by grabbing this little hoodus. To reinstall it, you just squeeze the tabs. Hook the little cable assist back in. Put all your junk back in there. Shut it, you're done. Cabin air filter, done. Okay, let's start showering down with some air and water. See what happens. We're just gonna use the garden hose. Sometimes we use the old power washer, but I ain't gonna lie, I want to get it out. I don't think we really need it. And I want to kind of blow that back the other way. CLR stinks. Come on, baby. And by the way, we have the truck pulled outside now. So I was not about to do this in my shop floor. No way, Jose. Damn out of the way. Don't blast me in the face. Yeah, here we go. Switch. Back and forth. Alright, watch out, you might get wet on this one. I didn't see it, but it did blow. Some white, I don't know what, I wouldn't call it calcium, but it blew some white stuff, chunks out. There was some over here, but I've already cleaned it up, so nice then. Oh yeah. Alright, so we've been working this back and forth for a minute. And I'm not getting any more stuff out of it, so we're gonna go ahead and hook it back up. We're gonna put a vac on the system, fill it full of coolant, run it. Let's hope it blows heat on both sides. So pull the vac on the system, on the cooling system. That'll hopefully alleviate any air pockets that may come as we fill the system up. These newer diesels, newer cars, they're all getting harder and harder. There's so much stuff. There's so many things. The coolant coolant is supplied to. Another trick you can use, you can raise the front end of your car up quite a bit. You know, like it was on some old school ramps about that high. Fill it up or find the hose at the highest point. You want to be above your heater core. That's usually the problem. It's the highest point in the car a lot of times. And fill it up until you get have coolant coming out of it. Put the hose back on, put the plug back in, however you find. The newer Cummins, this isn't that much newer, but they don't have a bleed port anymore that used to be located right about there. So we use this. So this is a cheap Cooltopia one, and I've had it for years and it works just fine. I didn't pay much for it. And other ones are nicer because they do lock in. This one is just a rubber feller that just pushes in or whatever. Let's go. You can watch it pull it out. We'll shut it down right before it gets to the bottom, switch it out. After our vac took about 4 gallons, we're gonna spray all this stuff off. Got CLR off there, and coolant. Shine her up a little bit. Okay, moment of truth. Let's hit it. Hit the key and see what happens. What I hope happens is it starts. That's good. Low coolant light. These are bad about the. Oh, hold on. Well, it's they did have a fault for it. Let's erase it. Let's hope it doesn't come back. These are horrible about the tank sensor getting crowdy, and you know, it still says it. Let's start it back up. Low coolant light still on. Okay, we'll let it run for a little bit. Maybe that'll go out. I know it's not long cooler. Well, say that. Let's make sure. Our coolant level's right here. Definitely not low. There's a sensor in the bottom of this, over here in this tank. Well known, going bad. Let it run for a while, see if when it gets warm, cycle stuff around, changes. Well, delta is not like that rubber. So we got her flipped around, partly in the shop because it goes uphill. So we're gonna go ahead and let her warm up at an upward angle. Maybe if there's any bubbles in there, we can get them out. Hopefully there's not. Hopefully our vacuum works like it's supposed to. We got her at a high idle, warm it up a little bit faster. Let's check the temperature. I heard the turbo nozzle back off. Take the load off the engine to keep it warm or warm it up faster. So I want to make sure it's not getting too hot. She's still down there, running pretty cool. But I can already tell you, boys, we got heat. Oh, it feels good. It's cold. My hands are wet. And we got airflow. I like it. Hell yeah, boys. I mean, that's right. It's just me. It's a weekday. Get the old girl to heat up. She's been running for a hot minute. So put the hood down. I have to wrap the grill off. I don't know. We've been sitting at 176 for gosh, 10-15 minutes. She's at 179 right now. So I really want to get that thermostat open before I call it a day. So let her keep ripping for a little bit. Well, finally got her to heat up. Had to put a little cover on her. It's a little chilly out. These old diesels take a little while to warm up. And so anyways, runs good, gets hot. Still fighting that pesky coolant thing, but the white. But other than that, man, another one down. She's good to go. Appreciate you guys watching. Peace.